I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order exactly at 9 o'clock on March 12th. First item is receipt of several reports. And before I get into those reports, just a quick thanks to Ms. Salerno, Director of Fiscal Affairs, and her entire team for all of the financial and accounting work that they are doing. Our audits are moving along. Our bank accounts are getting simplified, and the new Gov software we'll hear more about, but that's proceeding also. Accounts paid report for the period ending January 31st, 2025. Any questions or comments? I'll move to accept that report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Executive summary financial report for the period ending January 31st, 2025. I'll move to accept that. Oh, question, Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, just a couple of questions on the report. First of all, the liquid fuels, I think it mentioned $25,000 for salt. I remember, I think even during the summer, we vote, to spend a certain amount on, the salt. And then I thought we stored it, right? So it was this extra salt that we had to purchase? Or was that part of the original purchase? I was just surprised to see it come in at that time.
No, there were a few different purchases of salt.
Okay.
We had a lot of different storms, and even ones that didn't accumulate, we still needed to salt the roads. So
okay,
yeah.
So this was beyond. We had to buy more. Is what you're saying, and that was what I wasn't sure of, because I knew we were storing some of it. I didn't realize we had already gone through.
Yeah, if I could jump in. Unfortunately, the new salt shed, as large as it is, can't store an entire winter's worth of salt. So yeah, you'll see that periodically that they'll have shipments.
And then the other question I had was a payment from the end of 2024 on the capital fund for contracted services. And I was wondering, what contracted services do we pay for out of the capital fund? Unless I misunderstood it or something.
Oh yeah, I think the capital fund report showed no spend.
Well, not from 25, not from 20. It did mention 2024 that we spent 57,000 on contracted services.
Oh, you're asking about what we spent in 24?
What was on to the report that we got?
On the capital report, yeah. It talks about how we had spent some money on capital purchases in January of 24, but we hadn't spent anything yet in 25.
No, but I was wondering.
I would have to look at what we spent it on in 24.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Perhaps I was going too quickly, because we did get nice attachments, which I spent a lot of time on, and maybe some people have questions on: liquid fuels, the stormwater fund, the capital fund, and the general fund. And Ms. Salerno gave narratives explaining most of the items, perhaps not contracted services in 24. But most items are nicely explained, along with the variances between the 2 years. So are there any questions on any of those reports? The executive, any questions? I'll move for acceptance of the executive summary financial report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Lieberson, Finance Officer.
Hi, yeah. Before I get any questions, I did notice one, it's just a technical change on the report. Not a big deal, but under the page with the slide with the business privilege mercantile tax, I have Markham update. Technically, as you know, Markham is no longer Markham, but it's CBiz. But that's just a technicality in terms of the name. It technically should say CBIZ update, not Markham update, on the last slide of the report. But the numbers are there. Any questions or need for
Yeah,
clarification?
before I ask if anyone else has any questions, your regular summary report is very helpful and informative, so thank you. I'm going to ask this question, and if we're not able to talk about it now, perhaps in executive session. Are you able to provide the commissioners with a list of any businesses where the township is currently suing to collect delinquent taxes?
Better check with our solicitor. I mean, if Ed says it's fine, um, I have no problem with that. That the tax office is suing, Commissioner, or are you talking that we're
No.
pursuing?
Well, the township, so whether it's the tax office or the township.
Yeah,
It came up, there was an email this afternoon having to do with 222 Church, that apparently the township is in some litigation.
that's not within this office. I will say this,
It had to do with taxes, though.
but it's not generating from my office. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
But I could say this though, that right now I'm quote litigating through district court one case. There's several others that are being processed, and there is another one that we're pursuing through Ed DeOslo's office. Again, if we get
Yeah.
clearance from that, I can provide that information.
Okay, I'll double check with Ed, but I guess I would assume that if it's in the court system,
Right.
that it's already public information.
It's public record.
And with respect to the township, the $5,400 is the pilot. So they are delinquent in the timeliness of the pilot, but that's not being pursued. There is also delays in payment to the school district. And I believe on some of these, there may be some confusion about things that are school district versus township.
Commissioner Norris, had this quick question. I'm just curious, why would you want that information for the specific names of people? I'm just curious. I mean, I have no trouble doing it if Ed says no, go for it, but I'm just curious.
Well, frankly, if it's in the court system and it's public information, I'd like to be aware of that list or where it stands, because frankly, as Commissioner Ziegmanfeld was just indicating, I was not aware of the 222 Church, and yet it's apparently public information out there.
I will say this though, there's one currently, with the dollar amount, and there's about 5 that we issued citations for through the district court for non-filing in violation of the township code. But again, have someone have Ed email me and say I have no trouble with that. We'd have to maybe an executive session, or I don't know if we can do it by email, whatever process we can do. Absolutely.
And Commissioner Norris, that still is in litigation. Apparently, the 222 Church did file an appeal of the decision that was made in January. So what you saw today, to some degree, is information from one of the litigants.
Right.
Probably most of that should not be part of a public disclosure since it's in court, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just let me know, guys, and we'll run with it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Dan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anybody have questions for Mark?
Well, I'm here if you need me.
Okay, thank you. I'll move to accept the finance officer report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Information technology, Mr. Rubin. Anything to report there?
Nope, but just any questions anyone has, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Rubin? Not seeing any. I'll move to accept the information technology report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Community development, Ms. Hart,
Good evening.
I saw your report. Does anybody have any questions or do you have anything you'd like to state about your report?
No, I think I covered everything on the report, but if anybody has any questions, just shoot me over an email or give me a call.
Megan, the first line item that's yellowed in your report, the application pending, it says requested amount of $8,048. But isn't that in fact that line item for the Tookany Creek Parkway tree replacement? That's a $144,000 line item, is it not? So I'm not sure what that $8,000 is for versus the 144, which is part of the I'm guessing is the total transaction for the RFP.
That's actually a separate grant that Sam actually led the charge on that with submitting. So that's in addition to all of our grant funding that we have already secured for that.
Have we secured the grant money for the 144,000 as well?
We have several different grants on that. They are all on the report. There was, let me just pull my report up here.
Yeah, do you have the total?
Yes, we have actually 154 or 200 from DVRPC. And then we also have, let's see here. There was another $10,000 grant submitted for that. And then also we have a 400,000 grant on that one, and then an additional 250.
Okay.
When
So
do
we have a good
when do
amount
we
for
expect
that.
to hear on the DVR PC? When do we expect to hear on that?
Those are approved already. That's what we're working with. It's for the design phase, which we are doing. Well, we have completed the design phase, and
Oh,
it's expected to go out for bid. Probably it should be posted probably by the end of this week.
oh, it doesn't show it in the awarded amount.
Design and permitting and design. Anything that we are not secured on lists as application pending.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'm not seeing any other questions. I will move for acceptance of the community development report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Megan. Moving to number 2, old business. Continuing on old business, it will be old business this entire year until it becomes done. And that is OpenGov. And perhaps Michael will say that will never actually be completely done. It's always going to be ongoing with updates and changes.
You are right. I don't think it will ever be completely done. But no, so we are live with 3 of our suites with OpenGov. We went live with financials and permitting and licensing. For financials, still some stuff to close out. We are working on closing out bank recs within the system, which I know Janice is looking forward to being able to do bank recs in a financial software, which will be very nice. We'll be working on importing our fixed assets, still tweaking the reports that the commissioners are seeing, and working on month-end close and processes like that. As well as updating our general ledger report with ADP for payroll import. So a couple things still pending with financials. That project is supposed to close at the end of March. Permitting and licensing, the community seems to be taking to it very nicely. Have not heard any negative feedback so far. We are making tweaks as we see them. But I just ran a report as of now, and we've processed 780 different records into the system, completed 317 inspections, 388 permits issued, and about $200,000 collected in revenue. with one of our highest days in the beginning of March being almost 60 records in one day. So, everyone seems to be taking to it very nicely. The comments that I've heard so far have been very positive on that end. Asset management, we're a little delayed on right now. We'll look at trying to pick that up here in the next coming months. Procurement went live and we've been using that diligently. I know Samantha has been using that and putting out various RFPs and projects there. And then we will be starting our implementation for budget and planning here next month in April. So any questions I can answer.
Yeah, Mike, a big thank you to you and to all the staff who's working so closely with you. This is a huge project and shouldn't be underestimated by us or any residents. It was a big decision to spend a lot of money on this software, to put in all the time and effort with the training. We have high hopes for it. And with your help, you've been proving the success of it. As I mentioned earlier, Janice and her team are extremely busy because these months, a lot is going on with the financial side. You mentioned banking, journal entries, general ledger, fixed asset management, not to mention that budgeting will take up the last 6 months of the year. And hopefully with OpenGov, we'll see improvements. But frankly, we all have to be a little bit patient because it won't fully be on board until the following year. Any questions or other comments from anybody? So again, a big thank you. Okay, any other old business for the Finance Committee? Not seeing any, I'll move on to new business. We have a couple of items. 3A, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners award a contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Emiginent LLC, in the amount of $144,624.41 for the Tookany Creek Parkway tree removal and pruning project, subject to favorable evaluation of the bid documents submitted. See attached.
I can jump in on that if you'd like.
Yes.
This project was recommended by the Township Arborist, Rockwell Associates, a number of months ago. It was part of an analysis of tree conditions along the Tookany Creek Parkway, which a significant number of trees were determined to be in not great shape. So he recommended a number of trees for removal and a number of trees to be pruned. So this is the process to select a tree removal company to carry out that plan. 7 bids were received, ranging between $134,500 and $449,925. So there's a pretty large range. Upon reviewing these responses, there was concern about the lowest bidder. They were not completely responsive. So we are recommending awarding the contract to Emiginent LLC, which is the second lowest bidder. We feel that they are responsive, and we'll continue to do our due diligence, but this is a staff recommendation. We believe that they will be able to complete the contract.
Allison, is that a process, a reflection of using OpenGov to help to do the analysis of the vendors? Because it's very detailed and unlike a lot of the things that we've seen in the past.
Yes, OpenGov has been really helpful when it's set up, and Sam's been our OpenGov procurement guru who set this up. It does provide tabulations and questions so that as we're evaluating potential bidders, whether it's for an RFP or for a bid, we're able to check off that they've submitted everything, and you can see it in the grid in the packet. Shows where they pass and fail. So yes, it's been very helpful with the analysis, and then it's just upon us to review bid bonds and other things to make sure that they're appropriate. But yes, that's how we check it off.
Are we going to try and incorporate this in all the RFPs that we do moving forward?
Absolutely, yes.
I think it's a terrific tool. So kudos to, this is a good way to see just how much structure and control can be brought into that process. Thank you.
Sure, and it's a great way to be transparent with how we're evaluating all the bids as well, so.
Commissioner Rappaport?
Yep, thanks. So, in the materials, I think it said there were 187 trees to be removed. And then I don't even remember how many are going to be pruned. And this might go back to the earlier report by Ms. Hart, but I saw that we have put in a bid, we have a grant pending for replacement. I like to see replacement plans when we're going to go taking down trees. So what's our backup and what's the time frame?
Yeah, if I can just jump in here real quick, because of this, tree removal process, we are implementing a tree replacement plan along the Tookany Creek Parkway. So the first step in that was to submit a Trees for Watersheds, which was the old Tree Vitalized program. And in that program, for the $8,000 that Commissioner Zingmanfeld referenced, is for 60 trees.
Yeah, so
And and we'll continue to apply for those types of grants as well.
yeah, and we also budget out of our stormwater fund for also additional tree planting as well. So as we develop the plan, which we agreed to or promised to work with the Shade Tree Advisory Commission on and our arborist to establish the plan, replanting plan, we'll be trying to leverage additional grant monies in order to enable us to plant additional trees, as many trees as possible each year.
So when might that take place? I assume that the tree removal is going to take
And we
place.
can't hear you.
The tree removal is going to be happening. So what is the plan for the timing of the replacement?
I don't have a specific time, but generally planting in the fall is as we get through the pruning and removal process, will be a little too late in the season to plant this spring. So I anticipate a fall planting. I don't know, Sam, what the timing of the grant that you're working on is, but generally like early to or mid to late fall.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. And perhaps not so much for this group that I see on Zoom, but for the hundreds of people who will be watching the recording of this, it's important to be on the record that this board and Cheltenham Township is very much committed to enhancing the trees in our township. The amount that's being spent on the removal and pruning is part of the idea of keeping our trails safe and removing dead trees so that they don't fall on passing cars or walkers or joggers. And at the same time, as Commissioner Rappaport was indicating by her questions, there is money committed in this year's budget, as well as in last year's and in coming year's budgets, for an ongoing tree planting process. And that is throughout the township, not just along Tookany Creek Trail, but we made the commitment to bring in a consultant, an arborist, to help us with this on, again, where we need to remove trees and make sure that we're planting trees as much as we can, and as well as being fiscally responsible about it. So that's my statement. Okay, not seeing any other questions, I'll move on to 3B. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners approve entering into a 5-year contract with KDI. Oh, hold it. Did I? We didn't vote. We
No.
didn't vote. Okay, 3A. All those in favor of 3A, say aye.
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 Thank you. Sorry. Okay, approve entering into a 5-year contract with KDI Office Technology for the installation, implementation, service, and support of a voice cloud phone system with a monthly cost of approximately $2,134 and a one-time installation fee of approximately $1,171, pending review by the township solicitor. Mr. Rubin?
Yep.
Would you like to comment on this?
Yeah, I'll try and go through this here for you to give you some information about this and some return on investment for redoing our phone system. So currently, just to put it into perspective, we are spending about $1,700, $1,750 a month on our current phone system. With the new pricing, it would be about a $388 increase per month for the phone system. One of the components in our current system is we are using old copper Centrex lines that the prices continue to go up month after month. And Verizon has basically said that at one point they're just going to shut them down. What they're trying to do now is just raise the fees. So those prices are expected to go up. Our voice over IP phone system that we have currently, it was done in the manner to stay relatively cheap at the time. And we want to make sure, because we've had a lot of problems with it, that we can remediate. So, for example, I looked at our ticket system. The phone system went down 24 times last year. So obviously we want to make sure that our residents can communicate with us via our phone system effectively, and having those outages, lack that ability for our residents to reach us. With this new system, we will be gaining a lot of reliability and redundancy, being a cloud-based system. So that means that I could take a phone, plug it in at any building. So looking long-term planning when it comes to technology, and not necessarily knowing what we're doing with our buildings and where we might be going, having that flexibility to take our phones, plug them into anywhere that has internet, and our phones work. As well as that, as we saw with SPS, there is some random events that happen where you might need to be able to work from home or work out of the office. And this product allows us to download an application on staff members' computers, have applications on staff cell phones, and they can receive and make phone calls. So all state-of-the-art technology. We did look at multiple companies and compared prices, did multiple demos, and did a survey of our staff. Our staff currently rate our phone system, for the ones that did the survey, a 2.95 out of 5 stars. So all in all, I think it's money well invested into redoing our phone system. It being a cloud system, I don't see a need to replace. They provide the phones for free with every license that we buy. And they will, if something breaks, we send it back. 5-year contract was done to get the pricing that we got. So having that long-term relationship and partner in a vendor. So I'll take any questions.
Yes, Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you. You answered most of my questions already about current plans, about the problem with the system. How will the public, other than the reliability?
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to get you one of these new phones so that you can just plug in.
Do I usually have this problem?
No,
not this bad.
So I don't know we'll figure this out later. But anyway, I'm trying to ask if when the public calls, will they notice anything different about the system?
Probably
other
just
than it's more reliable.
Probably just the voice that you hear on the recording might be my voice, or maybe we'll find a staff member that has a really nice voice and we'll record a new recording. I can't think of any drastic changes that they'll see. The call quality should be better. That was one of the biggest complaints when I did the survey for our staff members, that the call quality and call drops.
Can we keep Chopin as the on-hold music?
I don't know if we can select the on-hold music necessarily. So
I think it's Polonaise, but okay.
The plan is still sometimes there will be a receptionist.
Yeah, there's no plans to get rid of the receptionist. Receptionist still answering phone calls. No, I mean, obviously, this system does have a lot of advanced features that we don't have. Where our receptionist may not be able to necessarily answer multiple calls and having call queuing, things like that. There are more advanced features when it comes to that.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Commissioner Lewis.
Just real quick, one, I want to acknowledge the voice over IP system, absolutely phenomenal. Certainly moving into the 21st century. Quick question. Will you make use of I would just encourage you to make sure that the auto attendant doesn't end up putting people in voicemail jail. That's what I call voicemail jail. It's in a loop. You can't get a hold of anyone. So hopefully you can take the necessary steps to avoid that.
Yeah, the township building, sadly after hours, there's really no method for the township phone. But for the police phone example, there is someone staffed there 24/7. So there is someone who answers the phones there constantly.
Good, thank you.
Mike, not only thanks for getting us into the 21st century, but for being proactive about this and looking around and being very prudent with the dollars that we spend. You're certainly aware that we have a lot of financial constraints, but it's really important that we provide proper service to our community and have proper equipment for our staff to use. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any comments or questions still out there? All those in favor of recommending to the Board of Commissioners next week's meeting that we approve this 5-year contract with KDI Office Technology, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. 3C, review of 2024 survey of financial conditions. Ms. Salerno.
Yes, so this is a report we're required to file with the state. It's very important for us to file it on time. One of the things that we had in our liquid fuels audit findings, the last 2 audits, was the fact that we hadn't filed this form on time. So we're happy that we're going to be able to file it on time. It's due by the 15th. There was really not much of a different response on this year's form than there was on last year's form. The point is really just to kind of see if the municipality is in a state where the state might have to come in and take over. And at this point, we didn't have to answer any questions that were concerning on the report regarding that. The only question on the report that I think had to require an explanation was the question that asked about if we have future deficits that we're expecting. We answered that question yes last year as well, but last year we were transferring 4.5 million into our capital fund, which was causing the anticipated deficit in the general fund. This year we do have an anticipated deficit in 2025, but without transferring capital. But we did put in there that we still have a healthy fund balance that we're taking it from, and that we are in the process of evaluating all of our expenditures so that we can streamline and sort of remove any future deficits in our budget.
Questions or comments? I'll just state that whereas the form may not differ much from prior years, it is significant and a credit to Ms. Salerno and again her team that this is being filed on time, because frankly it's not just the liquid fuels people. When we're going out to the marketplace for bonds, these are the types of things that if you're not filing these standard reports on time, and our CPA audit, where we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks as 23 gets finalized and we move forward with the 24 audit, it's really important to make sure we have the proper procedures in place and we're administering it properly. So thank you. Let's see, I think we're supposed to take a vote on that. Is that correct, Ms. Salerno, or you needed somebody's approval, or?
I think Commissioner
Does-
Arman, when I file the report, I just have to check off that you've seen the report and you are aware of what's in it.
So the rest of us don't matter, Mr. President, but can you let Ms. Salerno know that you approved this?
Why don't we have a vote that or at least an acknowledgement that we've all
All right.
reviewed it together.
All those in favor of approving the 2024 Survey of Financial Condition Report, which was attached or sent to us, say aye.
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 And Janice, for your benefit, I'm saying aye. All right, so you can verify.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
You have to stop.
Any other new business for the Finance Committee? Citizens Forum for the Finance Committee? Then we are going to move to adjourn at 9:36. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks all. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.